Hello and welcome or welcome back. Today I am going to be reading through some of the top AskReddit threads from the week. So with that, sit back, relax, and let's get started. The first question is, what's a trade secret you know from working the industry? A certain interstate natural gas pipeline valve is being kept open by a strategically placed piece of 2x4 lumber. If the valve was closed, millions of people would be without nat gas fairly quickly. Arcade crane games have knobs inside that let you control how strong the claw grabs. So you basically make the claw really weak strength, and then there's a setting in the motherboard to make the claw go full power after a certain amount of plays. The arcade owner decides how often they want people to actually win. As a freelance photographer, most magazines and newspapers don't pay you for using your photos. They offer you photo credit only. If you ask to be paid, they just get a similar photo from someone else. If you are involuntarily kicked off of a flight because of oversales, you can demand cash instead of a voucher. Vinegar is the best thing to get your cutlery shiny in a restaurant/bar. Things may have changed in the past few years, but generally speaking, plastic is hardly ever recycled anymore. It used to be shipped to China for processing, but even they had a hard time with the amount of pollution and toxic waste produced by recycling it. Now it will get shipped to other countries in Asia, where more often than not it just gets dumped into the Pacific Ocean. A lot of municipalities just add it to a landfill. On the other end of the spectrum, aluminum recycling is amazing. Having a crew that can pass a drug test is not the same as having a drug-free crew. On any piece of machinery, if the welds you see look like crap, the welds you don't see are even worse. If you ship through FedEx Express, if you're sending many packages or envelopes to a single stop, ship one priority overnight and the rest standard. They'll be delivered together with the priority package. Worked in high-end golf clubs for years. Almost all politicians register their handicap scores under a false name. The USGA handicap records are technically public information, and people would be pretty pissed if they know how much time these guys actually spend playing golf. You cannot copyright or patent a garment design. Only trademarks and branding are able to be protected in the fashion industry. Literally, anyone can legally copy any garment so long as they don't use logos or other copyrighted, trademarked branding. This is why so many luxury brands slap their logos and such all over things they sell. It's the only way they can distinguish something that could otherwise be copied down to the smallest detail. As such, many knockoffs and imitations are literally made by the same people in the same factories as the branded good, but they'll print a slightly different logo or pattern. Otherwise, the finished products may be identical. Also, many high-end fashion brands license their brand to other companies for manufacturing. So you'll have your super high-tier brand garment be identical to a lower-tier brand, with the only difference being the label. Sometimes they're even coming off of the same production line at the same time, but there are two buckets at the end, with each getting a different label. Occasionally, they will use slightly higher quality materials on the higher tier brand, but not always. Some brands will manufacture products exclusively for stores like Ross and TJ Maxx that are of lower material quality than what you'd buy in Nordstrom, Macy's, etc. But those same brands will also send otherwise unsold wholesale to those stores, so there will be a mix of the real McCoy and purpose-made cheapos. In all cases, never let a label fool you. Look for the quality of the fabrics and stitching first. Everything else is smoke and mirrors. If a medical professional ever suggests you get a second opinion, example, a nurse at the doctor's office, it can be code for they are concerned about the quality of the medical care you are currently receiving, and that you really should get that second opinion. As an HVAC mechanical engineer, if you tell us you don't care about a brand, it will open up an entire industry of options. Almost all packaged equipment has the same efficiency and warranty, but some brands just cost way more than others because of whatever internal proprietary controls they have, or inflated egos, or whatnot. I can design you a system for 30 to 50% less sometimes if you give me the flexibility to do so. I can also show you a comparison to prove to you that two systems of different costs will operate equally. Attorneys can really only remember the details of about 20 to 40 cases at a time. So if you call your attorney after about a month or two, depending on the firm and how busy they are, they likely completely forgot what happened to you and are working off a set of notes to pretend they have any clue who you are. Especially if you've really only interacted with them via phone other than one time in person for an intake. When you play match 3 games like Candy Crush Saga, after beating a few levels, the game will make it impossible for you to continue. If you put your device aside and return after several hours or a day later, you will find the previously impossible level to be easy. It is a mechanism to prevent people from burning through hundreds of levels in one go. All emergency rooms are not equal emergency rooms. In my hospital, we don't have any sort of OB, pediatrics, or any of that. Whenever a kid comes in, or worse, a baby, the nurses and doctors are all in a panic. Not because they're incompetent, but because that's not what our hospital does regularly. Sure, we still stabilize to the best of our ability, and we will immediately call the local children's hospital, but if you have a child, for example, in distress, and you have multiple hospitals nearby, try being aware beforehand which one is the best for you or your child's needs. You don't want to rush into an ER where there isn't someone who can competently and effectively treat you. You'll never resell that diamond at a profit if you're not in the industry. Just write that engagement ring off as a financial loss when you walk out of the store with it. So let's move on to another question. What's something you did the hard way for the longest time because you didn't know there was a much easier way? Cleaning the damn microwave. I struggled to scrub all the dried up bits off. Then a friend told me to just put a small dish of water in it and turn it on for a couple of minutes. Everything wipes right out. Control backspace to delete entire words instead of letter by letter. My dishwasher is across the kitchen from my utensil drawer. For years, while unloading the dishwasher, I would stuff as many utensils as I could into my hands. I'd inevitably drop some, and there are a few nicks in my hardwood floor from dropping forks and spoons. One day at work, a coworker unloaded the dishwasher and removed the utensil basket and carried it over to the utensil drawer. I never felt so dumb. When I was a kid, I was bad at nail clippers. I knew to put my nail in the chompy bit at the end, but I didn't realize that the handle folded out. So I would just squeeze really hard until I broke my nail off in the blades. This went on for an embarrassingly long time before my mom saw me and taught me how to open the lever. For dusting things like baseboards, windowsills, and picture frames, the best tool is a clean paintbrush. I always used to either use a cloth or something made specifically for dusting, but the paintbrush is much faster and easier. I keep a cheap 2-inch paintbrush exclusively for dusting now. Also works great on cobwebs. As a kid, whenever my bicycle wheels got warped, I would fix them by smashing the rims with a hammer. It mostly worked. Eventually, I learned that you can just tighten and loosen the spokes to straighten warped wheels. So much easier and much less destructive. Copy pasting on a computer by meticulously highlighting, right-clicking, then selecting the copy option. Didn't know about Control-C or B for way too long. Clean your blender by making a hot water and dish soap smoothie. Parchment paper. No more scrubbing off baked on cheese and sauce. If it goes in the oven, I use parchment paper. Not to be confused with wax paper. Do not use wax paper in your oven. The snip tool on Microsoft. I used to click print screen, then crop down everything. Snip tool is a game changer. And the snip tool is Windows Shift S. As a kid, I wore a uniform to school. It was a jumper, and then eventually, as I got older, it was a skirt. I definitely did not realize I could keep it on and lift the hem. I've been opening pistachios with my thumbs for 30 years until I saw my wife use a half shell to wrench her next one open, and then my mind exploded. If you're picking citrus from a tree, there's an easy way. Citrus seldom grows straight down from the stem. Get your thumb underneath the side where the stem makes an acute angle, then nudge the stem away. When the fruit is ripe, it comes right off. Put an absorbent fabric scrunchie on each wrist before washing your face. They stop the water from running up your arms when rinsing and getting the inside of your robe sleeves uncomfortably wet. Before leaving on a trip, I change my bed linens and towels so when I get home exhausted, my bed is fresh and crisp. I always used a sieve to get coffee grains out until I recently learned of a coffee filter. Took me a while to figure out you simply collapse a comment or thread on Reddit by simply tapping, not long pressing. If you hold the spacebar on your cell phone, it's way easier to move the cursor where you want it to be. Did it the hard way, the way you get angry at your fingers for far too long. Keep shaking the shaving gel and struggling to get more than a quarter of the can out until it dawned on me that they are pressurized and every shake causes it to lose pressure, therefore making dispatching harder. I've now used many and actually got the bottom of every can by simply not shaking them. Okay, so I think I am going to end there. I hope you enjoyed. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day